It is July 1969. Your camping equipment is a 36-story rocket, your campsite is the moon, and one forgotten tent peg may kill 3 national heroes on television. Welcome to the most over-engineered weekend away in history. Rule 1. Bring everything. Apollo 11 carried 3 astronauts, 2 spacecraft, computers, food, oxygen, cameras, experiments, bags for rocks, bags for rubbish, and several much less dignified bags for the astronauts themselves. The Saturn V lifted off on 16th of July with roughly 6 million pounds of machine underneath it. 11 minutes later, the crew was in Earth orbit. Efficient, if your definition includes setting a skyscraper on fire. Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins crossed 250,000 miles of vacuum inside a cabin about the size of a car. There was no shower, no proper toilet, and no privacy. There was paperwork. NASA's fecal system was a plastic bag with an adhesive rim pressed to the body. Afterwards, the astronaut added germicide, kneaded the bag, sealed it, and stored it. Humanity mastered orbital mechanics before the bathroom door. Urine received more engineering: a roll-on cuff, hose, valve, and collection assembly. The space program briefly became the world's most expensive plumbing catalog, and every fitting was intensely personal. Label everything. In zero gravity, crumbs float, tools wander, and one man's carefully stored lunch can become cockpit debris. Apollo food came in numbered packets because even beef stew required mission control. Back in Houston, rows of specialists watched consoles, each responsible for a narrow part of the machine. The astronauts traveled farther than anyone before them, yet could still be told to switch it off and on by Texas. Apollo 11 followed a free return trajectory before lunar orbit. If the main engine failed early enough, lunar gravity could swing the spacecraft home. Even the route contained an emergency exit because NASA distrusted space professionally. On 20th of July, Eagle began descending. Then, its guidance computer flashed alarm 1202. Radar data overloaded it, so it dropped lower priority work while keeping guidance alive. It was panicking responsibly, which is still panicking. Houston said proceed. Guidance Officer Steve Bales helped make the call after backroom experts recognized the overload. The moon landing survived because somebody understood an error code under extreme office lighting. The Apollo guidance computer had tiny memory by modern standards, but your calculator is not steering a foil-covered wardrobe toward rocks while everyone on Earth holds their breath. Context is important. The planned landing area contained a crater and boulders. Armstrong took more manual control and flew beyond them. This improved the campsite while consuming the one resource nobody wanted him comparison shopping with: fuel. Mission Control called 60 seconds, then 30. Fuel estimates carried uncertainty, but no generous reserve. Armstrong's heart rate climbed to about 150 beats per minute. The medical term is, quite understandably. At 4:18 p.m. Eastern Time, Eagle touched down in the Sea of Tranquility. About 30 seconds of fuel remained. They reached another world with less margin than a commuter arriving as the doors close. Do not celebrate yet. Landing means your spacecraft stands on legs never tested on the moon, in mysterious dust, beside an engine that must work once more or become architecture. Armstrong stepped onto the surface while Aldrin photographed him from inside. Television broadcast the moonwalk worldwide. Survival now included remembering the line, operating the camera, and not falling before several 100 million witnesses. The suits supplied oxygen, cooling, communications, and protection, but their backpacks pulled backward. Walking became a bouncing shuffle. Humanity first crossed another world like children carrying overloaded school bags. They planted a flag with a horizontal rod because there was no wind to display it. The stiff fabric looked as if it waved anyway. Even on an airless world, public relations required breeze. They deployed a seismometer, laser reflector, and solar wind collector, then gathered samples. The excursion lasted about 2.5 hours, science on a timetable associated with returning a hired van. Apollo 11 returned about 21.6 kilograms of lunar material. Special tongs helped because suits made bending difficult. The first extraterrestrial geology trip resembled two men gardening without using their knees. Lunar dust clung to suits and equipment, smelled like spent gunpowder inside, and invaded the cabin. Their immaculate spacecraft became a rental property after tenants ignored the sign about muddy shoes. Inside Eagle, Armstrong rested on the engine cover while Aldrin used the floor. Pumps made noise, lights glowed, and sunshine leaked around the shades. Their moon hotel offered magnificent views and no sleep. Then Aldrin noticed a circuit breaker knob needed for arming the ascent engine had snapped off, probably struck by a backpack. They were trapped by something shaped like a disappointing shirt button. Aldrin used a felt tip marker to push the recessed breaker without causing a short circuit. NASA supplied millions of parts. The part that got them off the moon could also write, "Please replace cap." After roughly 21 hours on the surface, Eagle's ascent stage fired and left its lower half as a launch pad. This is escaping a campsite by detonating the tent and keeping the roof. Michael Collins remained alone in Columbia, orbiting the moon and maintaining the only ride home. When Eagle returned, docking had to work. History's loneliest chauffeur finally saw his passengers approaching. The crew transferred themselves and rock boxes into Columbia, discarded Eagle, and fired for Earth. The return was comparatively routine, a phrase available only after alarms, boulders, and office stationery. Point the blunt end forward. Columbia hit Earth's atmosphere behind its heat shield, then slowed beneath 3 parachutes. Every other major piece was discarded. Minimalism arrived rather late. On 24 July, Columbia splashed into the Pacific about 825 nautical miles southwest of Hawaii. Navy swimmers fitted a flotation collar and handed in isolation garments. Congratulations. Please dress like contaminated furniture. NASA feared a remote possibility of lunar microorganisms. Crew and capsule were disinfected. Then the astronauts entered a mobile quarantine trailer. They survived vacuum and were grounded by a cautious caravan. Quarantine lasted 21 days from lunar departure. The astronauts gave debriefings through glass while scientists isolated the rocks. After crossing 950,000 miles, the final obstacle was being told they could not come out yet. The crew signed a customs declaration listing departure as moon and cargo, as moon rock and moon dust samples. Illness aboard was marked to be determined. Bureaucracy had achieved escape velocity. So, to survive Apollo 11, trust the checklist, respect the alarm, pack a felt-tip pen, avoid boulders, and bring many bags. The hardest part was coming home with your rocks, forms, and approximately some dignity.